Have you ever sacrificed your precious time waking up at 5 a.m., practicing those positive affirmations in the mirror, and drinking lemon water only to remain broke at the end of the month? Darling, you are doing everything wrong. I am Duchess Dollars, and today I will reveal the 18 habits that truly made me wealthy without having to break a sweat. Because sweating is something poor people do, not us. While other experts tell you to save on coffee, I am here to show you how to save energy. Yours, darling. Because working hard is for the poor. Rich people work with strategy. Remember that scene from Succession, where Logan Roy says, "Some people need to do the dirty work." He was not talking about us, honey. He was talking about those people who still split the bill on the first date. I always say, if you are splitting the bill, you are doing charity, darling. What is happening? Most people believe they need to work 80 hours a week, abandon their social life, and sacrifice their mental health to become rich. This is the kind of advice that keeps you poor and tired. The truth is that wealth has much more to do with intelligent habits than with hard work. That is why you see so many exhausted people still struggling to pay bills. Habit 1. Wake up when your body tells you to, not when the alarm clock rings. Forget this talk about the 5 a.m. club. The true rich habit is to wake up when your body wants to. Have you ever thought how absurd it would be for Bill Gates to wake up with an alarm clock? He wakes up when he completes his sleep cycle. The first rule for becoming wealthy is having energy to make millionaire decisions, and that only happens when you sleep enough. Replace that irritating alarm with automatic curtains that open with natural light. Poor people are in a hurry. Rich people have rhythm. And remember, Monday is the new Friday. Who said you need to start the week stressed? My Mr. Millionaire used to wake up at 5 a.m. every day until he realized he was making terrible decisions after lunch due to pure exhaustion. You know that disastrous acquisition he made of the failed technology company? Well, that was a decision, made at 3 p.m. after waking up at 5 a.m. Now that he sleeps his sacred 8 hours, the portfolio only grows. Science is on my side, darling. A Harvard University study showed that sleep deprivation costs the American economy $401 billion annually. Sleeping well is not a luxury. It is an investment. Do you think I maintain this porcelain skin and this sharp mind sleeping 5 hours a night? Absolutely not. I need to get up early at 10 a.m. to go to the gym, and even then, only when I feel like it. Working on Thursday? Only if I were greedy, darling. And greed is something poor people have who have not yet learned that quality of life is the true luxury. Habit 2. Delegate everything that costs less than your time. Are you still washing dishes, cleaning your house, or, my God, doing your own nails? Darling, your time is worth more than that. A Harvard Business School study showed that buying time, not things, is what truly brings happiness. Calculate how much your hour is worth. If you want to earn $10,000 per month, your hour is worth approximately $60. Now think, is it worth spending an hour cleaning the house when you can pay $25 for someone to do it for you? This math is very simple, even for someone born without talent for numbers like me. My rule is clear. If it costs less to hire someone than the value of my hour, I delegate. And I do not feel any guilt. Do you think Mark Zuckerberg is worried about changing the light bulb in the living room? Of course not. He is too busy creating empires. And so am I. And it is not just about household tasks. I delegate emails, research, scheduling, even gift selection. My assistant knows exactly what to buy for Mr. Millionaire's mother's birthday. Always something expensive enough to impress, but not so expensive that it makes her think I am trying to buy her affection, although I am. The secret is this. Rich people do not try to do everything. They focus only on what only they can do. Everything else, they delegate without thinking twice. This is not laziness. It is strategy. Habit 3. Invest in yourself before anything else. You know that talk about pay yourself first? This does not just mean saving money. It means investing in you, your education, your appearance, your health. Because, darling, you are your greatest asset. While basic girls save to buy more fast fashion products, rich women invest in aesthetic procedures, coaching, and courses that increase their market value. As Warren Buffett says, not that I talk with him regularly or anything like that, the best investment is the one you make in yourself. Every month, without fail, I invest at least 10% of my income in myself, whether it is a new course, a revolutionary skin treatment, or just a wellness retreat to restore my creative energy. This is not an expense. It is an investment with guaranteed return. When you invest in yourself, no one can take that away from you. Your boyfriend may leave, especially if he is poor because you followed my advice and dismissed him. The market may fall, but your education, your skills, and your glow remain with you. I have seen many women saving on dental treatments while buying counterfeit bags. Totally wrong priorities, darling. Nobody will hire you for a six-figure position with a smile that screams, "I saved on the dentist." On the other hand, $1 million smile opens doors even if your bag is from last season. But please, do not let it be. Habit 4. Cultivate your network of contacts as if it were your Louis Vuitton garden. Have you not realized yet that your network is your net worth? Most people spend more time talking with people who have nothing to add than building valuable connections. Play golf once a week, go to charity events, take a water polo class. Where do you think I met Mr. Millionaire? It certainly was not in a fast food line, darling. The truth is that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you are surrounded by people who worry about the price of bread, guess what will occupy your mind? Exactly, the price of bread, and not how to own the bakery. I do not mix with poor people. The energy is different. It is not snobbery, it is quantum physics. People with a scarcity mindset emit a different frequency than those with an abundance mindset. And you know what? That frequency is contagious. My social circle is carefully curated like a contemporary art exhibition. Each person adds value in some way, whether knowledge, connections, or simply the kind of elevated vibration that only someone who has never needed to check their balance before making a purchase can emit. Duchess tip: always have 3 types of people in your circle. Mentors, people who are already where you want to be. Peers, people at your level for collaborations. And aspirants, people with potential who are still growing. And remember, you do not need to like everyone. Networking is not a friendship club, it is a growth strategy. Habit 5. Think like an investor, not like a consumer. Poor people ask, how much does it cost? Rich people ask, what is the return? I will confess something to you. I have bags that appreciate more than the dollar. While that basic friend of yours spends on clothes that depreciate as soon as they leave the store, I buy items that appreciate over time. Birkins, real estate in Miami, contemporary art, these are the purchases that make your assets grow. The next time you are going to buy something, ask yourself, will this be worth more or less in the future? If the answer is less, think twice. I will give you a practical example. Last year, I was deciding between buying another designer dress or investing in a small stake in a biotechnology startup. I chose the startup. The dress would be out of fashion in 6 months, but the startup just closed a funding round that valued my stake at 300%. Now I can buy 3 of those dresses with the return on investment. That is thinking like a rich person. And no, this does not mean you can never afford the luxury of buying something that depreciates. It means you need to have clarity when you are consuming and when you are investing. Consumption should be limited to a percentage of your income. In my case, a very generous percentage, I admit, but I never compromise my investments because of impulsive purchases. Habit 6. Learn to say no to poor proposals. Do you know what happens when you accept all invitations, opportunities, and proposals that appear? You become too busy to focus on what really matters. I have a simple rule. If it will not pay at least 5 digits or connect me with someone worth 8 digits, the answer is no. Saying no to mediocre things opens space for the extraordinary ones. As they say in Silicon Valley, and no, I am not talking about Silicon Valley, that place in Los Angeles with all those plastic surgery clinics. If it is not an excited yes, it is a no now. My time is like my Hermes bag, extremely valuable and not available to just anyone. I declined 3 event invitations just this week because they did not add real value to my life or business. Was I criticized? Yes. Did I care? Absolutely not. Your ability to say no is directly related to your net worth. The richer you become, the more you realize that opportunities are infinite, but your time is not. Poor people say yes to everything because they are afraid of missing opportunities. Rich people say no to almost everything because they know better opportunities will come. Practice saying no without explanations. No, that will not be possible. Period. No excuses, no justifications. This is a financial superpower that few women master. Habit 7. Celebrate small victories as if they were big. Here is the secret that nobody tells. Wealth is a mental game. Rich people celebrate every step of the journey, not just the final destination. I celebrate when I make a good deal. I celebrate when I get a VIP discount. I celebrate when my little dog Chanel learns a new trick. This abundance mindset attracts more abundance. It is like the law of attraction, but with champagne and a black card. You do not wait to reach the top of the mountain to celebrate. You toast each step. With Moet, of course, not those supermarket sparkling wines. The other day, I closed a deal that increased my assets by 0.5%. For many, that would be nothing to celebrate. For me, I called my private chef and asked for a special dinner. Because when you recognize and celebrate progress, your brain produces dopamine and serotonin, neurotransmitters that increase your motivation and creativity. It is science, darling. And I take science very seriously, especially when it supports my desire to open a bottle of champagne on a Tuesday. Celebrating small victories is not frivolity. It is a neurological strategy to reprogram your brain for success. Habit 8. Read finance books as if they were gossip magazines. Financial knowledge is sexy, darling. I know more about the stock market than about reality shows. And look, I know quite a bit about reality shows. Set 20 minutes a day to learn about money. It can be listening to a podcast while doing your face mask or reading a book while on the treadmill. Walking slowly, of course, nobody wants to break a sweat. And remember, you do not need to understand everything. You need to understand enough not to be deceived by your investment manager, or worse, by your poor boyfriend who thinks he understands Bitcoin. When I go to the gym, yes, I go because a rich body does not maintain itself. I do not listen to pop music. I listen to audiobooks about investments, consumer psychology, and market trends. I have read more than 200 financial books in the last 5 years, all while doing my low-impact routine on the treadmill. Compound knowledge works exactly like compound interest. A little bit every day, and before you realize it, you are making decisions like a Wall Street veteran. The difference is that you will be doing it wearing Louboutins, not those horrible low-heel shoes that bankers wear. Transform your idle time into learning time. And no, scrolling through Instagram seeing influencers who pretend to be rich does not count as financial education. It needs to be content with substance, darling. Habit 9. Take care of your appearance as if it were your business card. It is not superficial, it is strategic. People judge by what they see, and I prefer to be judged as someone successful than as someone who needs help. Impeccable hair, radiant skin, quality clothes. This is not vanity, it is personal marketing. Do you think anyone trusts millions to a person who looks like they cannot even take care of themselves? When in doubt, dress for the job you want, not for the one you have. You will never see me in pajamas at home, unless it is a La Perla silk pajama. Your appearance communicates your relationship with money before you even open your mouth. Poorly. Done roots scream, I do not have a budget for regular maintenance. Worn out shoes whisper, I do not value details. Low-quality jewelry announces, I accept less than I deserve. Duchess tip, invest in a few high-quality key pieces instead of a closet full of mediocre items. A good blazer, a pair of impeccable shoes, a structured genuine leather bag. These pieces elevate any look, and more importantly, elevate how people perceive you. And please understand, I am not saying you need to wear luxury brands to look rich. I am saying you need to look well-groomed and attentive to details. There is a difference between looking expensive and looking quality. Focus on the second option while working to achieve the first. Habit 10. Learn the language of money as if it were your second language. Have you noticed how rich people have a different vocabulary? They do not spend, they allocate resources. They do not have debts, they have leverage. They do not save, they preserve capital. Start using these words. Your brain follows your mouth. When you change your language, you change your behavior. I never say something is expensive. I say, it is not yet the time to allocate resources in that direction. See how it sounds more intelligent and less poor? Another example, I never say I do not have money for something. Instead, I say I have other investment priorities at the moment. The first phrase comes from a place of scarcity. The second, from abundance and conscious choice. This language change seems superficial, but it acts at the subconscious level. Our brain believes what we repeat to it. When you constantly refer to yourself as an investor instead of a buyer, your behavior begins to align with that identity. Try for a week. Replace their expenses cartan with the investments, financial problems, with the cash flow challenges, save with accumulate capital. Observe how small changes in your language create big changes in your mindset. Habit 11. Have an opportunity fund, ready for when occasions arise. Poor people save for emergencies. Rich people save money for opportunities. It is a subtle mindset shift, but it makes all the difference. When you have money reserved for good occasions, you do not need to ask permission from anyone. Saw a property that will be valued? A promising business? A vacancy in an exclusive program? You are ready. My opportunity fund has already allowed me to buy stocks before they soared. Invest in promising startups and, yes, buy that limited bag that is now worth double. Not every opportunity comes with prior notice, darling. I have, at minimum, 15% of my net worth always available for unforeseen opportunities. Some call this idle money, but I call it strategic capital, because there is nothing more expensive than a missed opportunity. Last year, a friend called me desperate. She needed to sell her beach house quickly due to a complicated divorce. She did not follow my advice about marrying a millionaire. But anyway, the property was easily worth $3 million, but she would accept 2.1 million for a quick and discreet sale. Guess who had the liquidity to make the offer the same day? Yours truly. 3 months later, I refused an offer of $3.5 million for the same property. Opportunities often appear disguised as other people's problems. Be ready to recognize them, and, more importantly, to finance them. Habit 12. Negotiate everything, even the non-negotiable. If there is one thing I learned from Mr. Millionaire, it is that everything is negotiable. Everything. Even when they say it is not. Bank fees? Negotiable. Hotel rates? Negotiable. Contracts? Always negotiable. The secret is knowing how to ask and being willing to get up and leave. Rich people know that the first price is just the beginning of the conversation. The power lies with whoever is willing to say no, thank you, and walk out the door. It is amazing how suddenly special discounts appear when you show that you are not afraid to refuse. Never accept the first number, whether it is the price of a car, the salary of a new job, or the rate of a loan. The first number is always a test to see if you know your value. Learn to ask, is this the best you can do? With a polite smile, or my favorite, I need to think a bit more, and then remain silent. Silence is uncomfortable, and people often fill that void with concessions. Do not be afraid to seem difficult or demanding. Men negotiate aggressively all the time and are called good negotiators. When women do the same, we are labeled as complicated. Ignore these labels. Your net worth will thank you. One last tip. Always have a second option. Negotiating with alternatives is negotiating with power. When you have a solid plan B, your ability to say no multiplies, and with it, your negotiating power. Habit 13. Automate your wealth as if it were your breakfast. Do you still manually transfer money to investments? How middle class, darling? Automated wealth is the way. Set up automatic transfers on the day you receive money. 30% for investments, 10% for your opportunity fund, 5% for education. The rest you can spend without guilt. When money leaves automatically, you do not even miss it. It is like a personal trainer for your pocket. It does the hard work while you get the credit for the results. Behavioral science shows that our willpower is a limited resource. Each decision we make throughout the day depletes this resource. Therefore, the more financial decisions you automate, the more mental energy remains for truly important decisions. I have my entire financial system automated. On payday, the money is already automatically distributed to different accounts and investments. I never see the total amount in my account, so I am never tempted to spend what should be invested. This is not just convenient, it is a protection strategy against your worst financial enemy, yourself. We all have that inner demon that whispers, "You deserve that bag," like when we see money in the account. When you automate, that demon does not even get to see the money. Habit 14. Have multiple sources of income as you have multiple pairs of shoes. Depending on one salary is like having just one pair of Louboutins. What if they break? It is precarious, darling. Rich people have, on average, 7 sources of income. I am not saying for you to get 7 jobs, God forbid. I am talking about investments, royalties, dividends, passive income. Start with one extra source. It can be a blog, an online course, a small investment. Then go for 2, 3. Soon, you will have a complete collection of income sources, like I have of bags. My income comes from at least 8 different sources: stock dividends, bond yields, real estate rental, company stakes, my product line, royalties from my books, sponsorships from this channel, and yes, the generous allowance from Mr. Millionaire, negotiated annually with increases above inflation, of course. If one of these sources dried up tomorrow, my lifestyle would not be affected. That is what I call real security, not depending on a single payer. Start small, but start, even if it is just $100 per month from a secondary source. Over time, feed that source until it grows enough for you to start another. It is like that chess game with the rice grains that double with each square. It seems little at the beginning, but the growth is exponential. Habit 15. Eliminate financially toxic friendships. Do you have friends who are always broke, always need help? Always have a new financial crisis? Time to clean up, darling. Financial problems can be contagious. If you spend time with people who have a bad relationship with money, you unconsciously absorb these patterns. I am not saying to abandon friends in need, but to establish clear boundaries. As the flight attendant says, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Have you noticed how certain friends always appear when you celebrate a financial victory with a new crisis to solve, as if they could not bear to see you prospering? These are financial vampires, and they come in various forms. The eternal borrower always needs a temporary loan that is never returned. The subtle saboteur makes discouraging comments about your financial goals. The compulsive spender always convinces you to spend more than you planned. The financial victim, for whom everything is the fault of the economy, the government, the boss, never their own choices. If you want to change your financial reality, you need to change your social circle. This does not mean being cruel, just strategic. Gradually reduce time with people who do not share your financial values. Increase time with those who inspire you to grow. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely who is part of that average. Habit 16. Explore new cities like a luxury anthropologist. Traveling is not just for pleasure, it is market research. When I visit a new city, I do not just go to tourist spots. I investigate properties, meet local entrepreneurs, discover emerging trends. Some of my best opportunities came from trips that seemed like just vacations to others. While tourists buy souvenirs, I buy stocks in real estate. Paris, Tokyo, Dubai. Each of these cities taught me a different lesson about wealth. And yes, you can deduct part of these research trips from your taxes. Consult your accountant first, of course. When I was in Aspen last year, I love Aspen. It is so exclusive. I did not spend all my time skiing. While other socialites were taking selfies on the slopes, I was having lunch with a real estate developer who gave me early access to a project investors could only enter 6 months later. My stake has already appreciated by 40%. In each city I visit, I make sure to meet at least one high-standard real estate broker, visit the emerging neighborhood that is not yet on the tourist radar, have meals at restaurants frequented by the local elite, not by tourists. Read the local business newspaper to understand the region's economy. Traveling as a luxury anthropologist means observing patterns, identifying opportunities, and creating connections that other tourists would never have. It is the difference between returning home with just photos or with a new investment in the portfolio. Habit 17. Invest in relationships as you invest in premium stocks. Do you carefully choose your stocks, but choose your relationships on impulse? What a poor strategy, darling. Relationships are long-term investments. Some people will appreciate over time. Others will drain your energy and resources without return. Analyze your social circle as you analyze your portfolio. Who is bringing positive dividends to your life? Who is constantly declining? It is time to make some adjustments in the social portfolio. I am not just talking about romantic relationships. Although obviously choosing your partner well is the biggest financial investment you will make in life. I am talking about all your connections. Friends, colleagues, mentors, employees. For you to attract successful men, you need to be successful. You do not need to have a lot of money, it is not about that. But you need to have focus, determination, and excellence in some area of your life. Can you finish a diet? Start a project and complete it? Maintain a skincare routine for more than a week? Millionaire men seek women who demonstrate competence and commitment, not just beauty. Beauty attracts, but it is character that retains. And character, in the business world, means doing what you said you would do, when you said you would do it. Apply the investor mindset to your relationships. Do due diligence before committing. Monitor performance over time. And do not hesitate to divest when indicators are consistently negative. Habit 18. Never bet what you cannot lose with dignity. Last but not least, rich people never risk everything. I only play if the prize is a millionaire husband or a private island. Otherwise, my love, I prefer to bet on myself. Casinos, impulsive day trading, dubious businesses. These are traps for the aspirational middle class. True wealth comes from calculated decisions, not gambling. As I always say, do you want to play the lottery? Darling, you already lost when you were born poor. You will have to play the entrepreneurship game now. The difference between me playing and you playing is that I play with other people our money. If I lose, too bad for Mr. Millionaire. But even so, I prefer investments with calculated risk to luck bets. The only casino that interests me is Monte Carlo, because there, if you lose, at least you lose with class, champagne, and a Dior dress. And even then, I do not go there to play. I go to observe the players and potential networking targets. Because while everyone is looking at the cards, I am looking at who is dealing the cards. Gambling is like trusting an ugly boy. You know, it will go wrong, but you insist. Then you cry and still leave without a new bag. Casino is entertainment for those who have not yet learned that the greatest stroke of luck is a stable union with someone from Forbes. Rich people calculate risks. They do not embrace them blindly. Each bet they make is preceded by research, analysis, and often, privileged information that the general public does not have. They never risk what they cannot lose comfortably. They never compromise their current lifestyle for a chance to improve it. This is perhaps the most important habit of all, protecting what you have already achieved while working to achieve more. Because it does no good to climb 3 steps up the wealth ladder if you fall 5 in the process. And there it is, darling. The 18 habits that transformed me from an ordinary girl into Duchess Dollars, living the life of my dreams without having to break a sweat. Because, as I always say, rich people work with glamour, poor people work with sweat. Do not get me wrong. There still needs to be work, but the type of work changes. Poor people work with their muscles. Middle-class people work with their minds. Rich people work with relationships and strategy. If you have not yet found your sugar daddy or your millionaire boy, the way is to stay here with me and learn to be rich on your own. I know your dream was to be born an heiress, but since that did not happen, be a visionary. When you understand that you can be rich, you will understand that you can do anything. Poverty is a state of mind, darling. And state of mind can be changed more easily than marital status. Believe me, I have been through 3 husbands to prove this theory. Implementing these habits will not transform you into a millionaire overnight. Even being born rich like me, I still needed at least a week to become a millionaire. Laughs. But seriously, adopting these attitudes will fundamentally change your relationship with money, time, and value. Start by choosing just 3 of these habits to implement in the next 30 days. Do not try to do everything at once. That is what desperate poor people do. Rich people know that consistency overcomes intensity. Small daily changes lead to big transformations over time. And for all of you who made it this far, I would like to thank you for the time invested with me. Yes, it was an investment because time is money, and I just saved you years of trial and error by sharing these secrets. If you liked this video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video full of tips for you to succeed in life just like me. And if you really liked it, leave in the comments, "Rich without sweating." I left in the first pinned comment several links to rich products that will help you start your journey. Remember, being single is not a reason to be sad. Being poor is. Our love language is money, and your net worth is determined not by your salary, but by your daily habits. Kisses from your Duchess, and until the next video.